We are in Parshat Bo. And let's just start off with the first sentence, no? I mean, this first idea of Bo, right? Come to Paro, not go to Paro, brings us to our Kadosh. That Hashem is telling us that when you are in your misery, so to speak, when you're in your Mitzrayim, when you're in your suffering or your galus, and what is exactly galus is, really there's a galus of dat, it's a galus of connection, is when we're really in galut. Guess what? Hashem is saying, I'm coming with you. It's not go by yourself. It's I'm coming there with you. And this is like, it's actually a powerful tool. It's just all the time remembering that Hashem is with me. I'm not in this alone. Like, meaning there's some times where I feel so alone in my nisayon that nobody else can understand what I'm going through. Even though other people have the exact, very similar, and you could talk to someone, they can empathize and validate, and you can be with your partner, and the partner, is with you in it, and yet your personal perspective and your challenge is going to be yours. As worldly as it might be, globally or universally, I should say, not worldly, universally, it's still your personal. And there, I always come back to the comfort of knowing that it's just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's who's with me, and that's who's coming down with me, and that's who will rise up with me. And I was looking at this, and it's so interesting because there's a lot talked about the fact that Hashem made Paro's heart kaved, right? Kaved is heavy, but also kaved is lashon kavod. So what's going on there? He respected him. He made us heavy. What's happening there? And the famous question is, where's the free choice? If I'm making it so difficult for you, then where's the choice? But the Mefarshim actually bring down that there is a choice, believe it or not, that there's always a choice. And how do I know there's a choice? Because I'm giving you another chance. If I wasn't giving you another chance, it means there's no choice. Does that make sense? So sometimes you're in a situation, it's like this, and you have these patterns in your life, these patterns that happen every single time, every once a month, or once a year, or once a week, even maybe once a day. And you have these patterns where it just takes you into darkness. And there's a certain point you might think, there's no way I'm getting out of this pattern. I just can't. I'm not getting out of this. Or my child, or my spouse, or my situation, or really you don't see there's any hope. And I think this idea is that it's saying that Hashem's making Paro's heart kaved. He's giving him actually kavod. Kavod is that I'm giving you choice. I'm making space for you. When I give someone kavod, as we talked about, it's always giving someone choice, a space. If I say Melech HaKavod, it means HaKadosh Baruch Hu fills up the whole entire world. How then can I exist? Because he takes a step back and he gives us bechira, he gives us free choice, he gives us kavod actually. And when you give someone else kavod, what are you saying to them? Is that I'm giving you space, talk, go ahead, I'm listening to you. So actually in Paro's heart, there was a space in order to making a decision, making a choice. And also, the more that it seems so obvious, come on, all these 7 makot, wasn't it so obvious? Then actually I have to up, right? Which means that Hashem will send you feel like you're growing. And I want to actually go back to something that happened last week's Parsha. We said that Aaron comes with Moshe, and he throws down the stick. It becomes a snake. And then we said that the other ones do the same thing, right? But what I didn't mention in parentheses is that it wasn't just that they threw it. They started mocking Aaron and Moshe. There was laughter. Paro was saying, you think that's, I'm going to come bring my 5-year-old, and he's going to throw a stick and make it into a snake. Which means what? Is a person wants to get out of their troubles, and they want to heal, and they want to start a process of growth and divukud l'kadosh baruch Hu, and getting higher, and then all of a sudden you have the whole world mocking you. And let's just say the world doesn't mock you, but you mock yourself. Like, you've got to be kidding, I can really do that? Or how is that going to be possible? And it's a joke. It's like laughter. There's no way that I'm going to get out of this. There's no way this is going to change. There's no way the situation is going to be any different. You start laughing at yourself, or you feel other people are mocking at you. A person on their process too. Maybe when someone takes something on, or they're trying so hard, usually at the very beginning, actually, they're going to find it's more difficult. You would think it'd be easier, and then all of a sudden it's more difficult. You have this higher, it's like you feel like the world is mocking. You feel like maybe even Hashem is mocking at me, right? And that is, we have to just know, okay, we're going to learn right now the process to Geula. The first process is just having an awareness. It's going to be hard in the beginning. And once I know that I can accept it, then I'm like, okay, all right, I got it. I just have to get past that, because they weren't mocking him anymore. By plague number 3, by the lice, and then more on, they were not mocking anymore, right? So it's getting past that. It's the same idea as Rabbi Akiva, the famous, maybe it's I don't know if it's a real, but it's for sure a legend about him going to the shuk. Everyone's mocking at him with his donkey and the flowers that his wife tells him just go do, because he was embarrassed to go learn Torah at the age of 40 when he's going to be with 3-year-olds. And she's like, everyone will mock you in the beginning, and then it just ends. So also, we kind of have to know in ourselves, we mock ourselves, and we're like, no, we really can't do that. I'm telling you, you just have to hold on.
Well, didn't you tell the story of the woman in the army?
Yes, exactly. Last week I told the story of the woman in the army. Exactly. So, okay. So number one is Klal Gadol. Hashem is with us. He's coming with us. He is with us. I mean, we're going with him. I don't know what the thing is, but it's not that we're on our own mission to start. That we're helpless and hopeless and alone. And I wanna actually get into something, but I want to tell you what happened this week. I had a number of women who came to me that were overdue or had different situations where they were but they were told the baby needs to come out. Okay, they're expecting at the end of a pregnancy or past their dates of their pregnancy. This is something that women come to me a lot for. And I had this gorgeous couple that came to me. And, a person expects magic. Oh, I'm going to do some kind of something. And then all of a sudden the baby's like, that doesn't work. First of all, I'm not doing anything. It's all Hashem, right? Mm-hmm. Really, with clarity, I can say that. Even if a person were to start up, taking medicine, Pitocin, it's not going to mean that who knows when the baby will be born. There's a lot of different reasons. A C-section could be scheduled and all of a sudden there's another emergency. The baby will be born exactly the time it's supposed to be. So nothing is magical here. Hashem is in control for sure. But what I realized about this couple, and first of all, she came and she just started crying, right? And of course, it's such an emotional, but why is the crying? Why is the feeling? There's two things happening. Number one is I have a picture of how I think something is going to be, and it's not going according to my picture. That's number one, which we face this on a daily, you don't have to be expecting and about to, deliver a baby to face this. You face this on a daily thing where a person says, I want something, and it's not going according to how I want. That's number one. It could be, and that could be any situation where I thought, any situation, right? And then number two is I think that my decision is going to actually, like this pressure that we put on, that if I don't do the right thing at the exact right time, then the whole entire world, and it's like a contradiction, because how can I also have these two things always in my pocket? That on the one hand, I'm like a tolat, I'm like a worm in the world, I'm dust. But on the other hand, the world is created for me. So what should I be thinking? Well, how am I supposed to balance this? And what I realized is they were so distraught, and they were telling me that what happened when they went to the doctors, what they're telling the doctors are telling them. And my first thing is I just have to connect them to Hashem. I have to connect them to this is a process, and that birth is not something we have control over, like anything we don't have control over. And that more than they think that their choice is if I should listen to this doctor, or go to this hospital, that hospital, do I do a C-section, do I do an induction, they thinking that's their choice. And I said, that's actually not your choice. And the how and the when is going to be up to Hashem. So then what's the choice? The choice is, your only bechira, most of the time, is am I connecting to Hashem in this process? Because I don't know who my shlichim are. Maybe this is going to be my doctor, is going to be my shliach, and it's going to be that way because of the birth, or this midwife, or this doula, or this, whatever these people are advising me. I don't know more than they do, for sure not. I know my body, and I told them to tap into Emunah, that the body was created for the child that's going to come, and that there's a time. But I'm not going to take responsibility, and they can't also take responsibility actually for their decision, which is ironic. You would say no, empower them, have them stand up and be like, we are going to take responsibility for our decision. But it's a high expectation for a young couple who doesn't know anything about anything, and you're going to have expert doctors who might tell you different things. It's a lot. It's a lot of pressure. So what do? We go back to my only bechira is that I'm going to be with you, Hashem, in this. And I said, the only bechira is you're choosing to be b'yadayim shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that you want to be in Hashem's hands. I can't tell you the crying and the feeling of such anxiety and stress. It was kotzer ruach also. What is this concept of not being able to breathe? You guys, you realize that breath is a way that we have control. The breath is equal to control. Therefore, when are the times that I find it difficult to breathe? When I'm anxious, when I'm scared, when I'm panicking, when I'm angry, because who has control when a person's angry? That's actually when you get a quickness of breath. Or when you, yes, are physically exerting yourself and, okay, so that's true. That's in a context of something a little bit different. But I'm saying, let's say the body's not running a marathon, but either you're also very much in a hurry, right? Which is in a way, I guess maybe that's exercise. You're like really in a hurry. You're really stressed out. You're really nervous. A lot of anxiety, a lot of fear or anger. And what is actually one way and one tool that we can actually gain control of our lives is by doing what? Is by breathing. It sounds so simple, but the word neshima, breath, is my neshama. Can I come back to my neshama, actually? Can I just come back to Kadosh Baruch Hu? Bo, Hashem, are you with me in this? Am I in your hands? Like, this is such a hard decision to make. How many decisions are we making, whether it's this school or whether, this or that, or to move or not to move, or this or that, to sign up for this, not to sign up for this, to take a course, a person has to make so many decisions, People think that their whole life, you get this job, you not this job. If you have this amount of money, you're thinking that really your decisions are going to do anything here? Wait a minute, but the whole world was created for me, and you should take responsibility. Do your shtaldus, but how are you breathing? Because that's not the way to take over control, is by trying to have, more and anxiety. And the kotzer ruach that they felt in Egypt was, I am not in control, I'm a slave. So what do? We have to breathe. Like literally, you can't imagine how much it means to just take a deep breath and hold the breath. You're not going to die. Take the pause and then exhale it out slowly. It helps with anxiety. It helps with fear. It helps with anger. It's very hard to get angry if you're actually taking a deep breath, because all of a sudden what happens? Your seichel, your moach, your brain, your neshama, then connect to your feelings, your ruach, your heart, your emotions.
You know what I find hard in that moment, though? If you do that and then your brain starts taking over and then you get embarrassed, like for how you acted.
Oh, such a good question. I thought you were going to ask me something else. What happens if in that moment I'm in control of myself, I'm actually with the breathing, and then I'm embarrassed for the way I reacted or overreacted before? Okay, so it's a good question. And I think actually part of being in Egypt and trapped is actually being embarrassed. Again, you're mocking yourself. You're at the beginning of your journey learning how to breathe and learning how to change a pattern and habit. So then the embarrassment is just a mockery of yourself at yourself, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's not that's not busha divush. Busha is a clothing. I can take it on or take it off. Meaning, what am I truly here? It's just something that because of externals, I'm feeling embarrassed. Is it a true, and if it's a true chareta of feeling bad about something, the word chareta is cheut, it's freedom. Mm-hmm. To feel real, true, like, okay, I did something wrong and I want to work at it, that's freeing. Busha is a livush that you're just wearing, mm-hmm. and you're trying to, maybe impress, like, you're mocking at yourself. But I thought you were going to ask me a different question. I thought you were going to ask me what everyone asks me is like, that's easy for you to say right now, Elana, but when I'm in the moment, it's very hard to do that. And I say, I'm going to tell you that Hashem gives us plenty of moments to practice. You don't have to be in the midst of a fight when you're blowing with anger to start practicing your breathing. You can do it anytime you start feeling a little tiny bit of irritation. Even that the kumkum is not boiling the water fast enough and you have somewhere to go, that could be where you say to yourself, I have enough now, I'm not yet in galus. I have enough now to take a deep breath and to practice it. Practice, you guys. This gets me to my next point, is that also, if Hashem hardens Paro's heart in a way of he doesn't give him any bechira, no free choice, right? And the whole point is, I'm going to do, Hashem saying, I'm doing this without anyone, I'm the sole actor here. So the question is, why did then Hashem just send Makar, like the first one, bang, either one day, all 10 makot, or send the most severe, kill the firstborn the first day, and have Paro come running to his knees and send them all out. And we have to see this, as I'm trying to tell you, it's not a 1 second to the next that we're going to get out of our mitzvahs. It's a process. There was a 7 in the last, which the 7 is actually connected to 7 midot that you have to work on yourself, okay? And now we have these 3, which is chokhmah, bina, and dot. And that's the real, can we connect to that? Can we really channel and connecting to our emotions and how we filter things and our perspectives, how we're taking them in, what are we sensing and taking in it and connecting it back to Kadosh Baruch Hu? That's the real dot, is the ultimate of getting out of Mitzrayim. But I thought of something that I was very excited about because it made me realize also when I'm in my difficulties and I'm in my challenges, and I feel like this process is too slow. Like I could cry. I'm like, I have to tell you, this week, I heard I unfortunately listened to way too much to news. And I was in so much pain. Like I'm telling you, we are in a lot of pain. And if what, I don't know if I'm reading is truth or not truth, but even just having my son come home, and 2 hours late because there's no buses, he has to walk, a 10-year-old. I'm not talking about the older ones. I know something's going on. I don't have to be there to know something's going on. To hear of a person being murdered run over by a bus, and to hear people being run over, and to hear all the horrible things that are happening, and the fighting and the hatred, and it's beyond me. I can't tell you. I feel like we're in such galas on the Hashem. There's no way we're getting out of it right now. Because if we're fighting amongst ourselves, what are we going to, what is there? And Am Yisrael, they kept their language, they kept their names, they kept their dress. They didn't have rechilu, they didn't gossip, they didn't talk about each other. They kept themselves together. We're not keeping ourselves together, and it makes me mamash. I'm in so much pain, and the only thing I can say, not but an and, is I always go, well, what can I do? What can I personally do? I can't do anything for the world. I can only do for my own inner world of trying to bring more Hashem into my picture, right? I can say, okay, Hashem, you're also with us in this galas that we're in right now, and maybe to try to educate and bring people closer to you, and. So, but then I was thinking about something, because right now I feel very hopeless about certain situations, both on a private level and on a national level. And then I was thinking about this, and I'm like, Hashem, this was such a slow process, and I guess it just has to be like that. I guess healing and bringing the redemption is just a slow process, right? But then I'm thinking about something that I started to read. There's two things that happen very quickly. It's not that they happen quickly, it's that we had to do them quickly. And what is it? Number one, it's matzahs, right? Matzot is something that you better, you gotta cook it quickly, bake them quickly. Mind you, there's two ingredients in a matzah. There's flour and there's water, which I want to get to in a minute also. But so we have the matzot. And also, I didn't know this, but the Korban Pesach was actually something very quickly prepared, right? Why? How does this, it's brought down the Sefer Chinuch, that Korban Pesach had to be betzlil. It had to be on a grill, barbecue, and it was not cooked. We had to have it barbecued. Now, why? So these are some of the reasons brought down. Number one, you are slave mentality. You've been in slavery for so long now that in your mind, even though for now, since the plague started, basically there was no more slavery. I mean, they weren't working the way they were working before. They're still in Egypt, but it wasn't the same type of slavery. The mentality of getting yourself out of that and having a change in your life is usually not going to be so quick, right? And we have to externally do things to make us feel actually differently. So therefore, if I'm a poor person, if I'm a slave, if I have a little bit of meat, I'm going to put it into stew, I'm going to put some potatoes, I'm going to put lots of water, and I'm going to make a soup. Because it has to be something, I'll put some barley in there or something. But if I'm a wealthy person who's the daughter of a king, I can take my barbecue. I don't care about the fat getting dissolved and not having the fat and getting a little bit charred. I'm not worried about the meat. I'm not worried about utilizing every single little tiny. So number one is to try to get us into this attitude of understanding that if I want to feel something, I actually have to do actions to bring me to that feelings, right? I'm going to be like a melech or malka. I'm going to eat like a barbecue, right? That's number one. Number two is that when I cook something, even if I'm making cookies or something, so my apartment smells it, maybe in the hallway they smell it, they're not smelling it outside. Okay? Maybe if it's very close buildings, the neighbor next door of the window in your floor will smell it. But when there's manga, when we know it's on, Lag BaOmer, when there's in the summertime, someone does in our neighborhood one barbecue and the whole entire shchuna, the whole entire neighborhood smells it, which is what's going on. This was their God of the Egyptians. We are letting you know there's only one God. And I'm barbecuing your little lamb. You're going to, it's like all the things that we trap us and we attribute power to, right? And the classic definitions could be money, and whatever that means, power to money, power to having a certain esteem, what people think about me, power to anger, all these things, power to, I would say laziness also. I don't want to put in the work. I'm fine. I'm comfortable. That's actually an avodah zarah, I think. Wanting to put in work is a form of avodah zarah. Let me just sit and be stuck in my misery. All these things. So let's make the whole world know that we're not going to bow down to that. That's not our God. And then what is our God? Our God is Amunah. It's Mamash Amunah. I know that it's been a long process, but you can take us out in a moment. And when I'm doing Korban Pesach, what am I doing? I'm doing a mitzvah that you commanded to me because I believe in you. That means even though I'm scared, I'm taking the Egyptians' God and I'm tying them up for 4 days. And then I'm doing Ala Esha, the whole entire neighborhood and the whole entire, city knows about it, and all of Ramses, and they smell it. I have Amunah, Kadosh Baruch Hu. And guess what happens when you have Amunah in Hashem? And what's matzah? Matzah is lechem Amunah. The Yeshua comes so quickly. It's unbelievable to me that our process is because that whole time we were building up that, oh yeah, maybe we believe in God too. Maybe it actually could happen. Maybe there is something to this. Hashem keeps saying, Ani Hashem, Shadatim. It's not just dat though. It has to sit on your hearts. So I can have the information up here and I know Amunah is in my head, but am I really feeling my Amunah enough to act upon it that I can just go? I'm okay, Hashem. I'm not going to start worrying about how is that going to happen in the end. I told this couple, you're in Hashem's hands right now. The Yeshua is so quickly of just being there. The outcome of what it's going to look like, I honestly can't tell you. I'm going to daven for them and hope, and I can hope that it's going to be in a way that's revealed sweetness and goodness. But I can tell you that the moment you put yourself in Hashem's hands and you put yourself in the Munah, that birth will be beautiful no matter any way it happens, right? And knowing that a split second things happen, they change all the time. So these matzahs also, which I was thinking is that matzah is just water and flour. And here we get into a very big trap, is we feel like we have to get to a certain point of perfection in order for us to have that real emunah. I mean, this is like a classic case where all students say, I don't want to keep that mitzvah because I know I won't do it all the way. Let's say Shabbos might be too hard for me. So I won't do Shabbos. I know it's truth, but I'm not going to do it because I can't keep the whole Shabbos. That's just like on that level, and it can be on any level. There's no way I'm doing that. It's either all or nothing. Hashem says, take some flour and water. You don't have to have shleimus here. I'm not waiting for the baguette. I'm not waiting for it to look delicious and taste, an artisan bread. Just make a matzah and go. Amunah is, Hashem, I don't have to be perfect, and you still love me, and you'll still take me out. 49 levels of tumah. That's how imperfect we are. Yes, Hashem says, just have Amunah, and I'm taking you out as you are, the way you are, with all your imperfections, and that's it. You're coming with me. What a beautiful, a release. I always think I have to be perfect. And I'm on this, no one's forcing me to be perfect. And no one's telling me, but I live on a hamster wheel a lot of the times where I'm just trying to run after that. Hashem, I just want the baguette. I want it to be perfect. I want the sourdough bread. It has to be sprouted. And then it has to be sometimes people tell me when they're told the things that they will need to do, it is so overwhelming for them that usually most people say, that's it, I'm not doing it. Whether it's physical health, emotional health, if you go to somebody and they tell you, now I just told you it's a long process, but if you go to somebody and they say, well, this is going to be, you've got a long road ahead of yourself, how many people give up? And I had a client also with a lot of stomach issues, and knee problems and this problem, and she's extremely overweight. And I was like, I'm sure that everyone's told her all she has to do is lose weight. That's like this, it's so simplifying it in a way. And then she was telling me about these, she went to this person, and they gave her such extreme diets, and such extreme things. And I'm like, you just walk 10 minutes a day. That's all I'm asking right now. Just let's do a 10-minute walk, and you'll meditate, and you'll walk, and go at whatever pace you want. Forget about the food right now. Just 10 minutes. The walking, get your body in motion between the digestive issues and the walking. The all or nothing attitude, it always leaves people with nothing. When you give something imagine telling your child, they walk in, okay, let's go, we're ready to get ready for Pesach, because we're talking about Yetziat Mitzrayim. And you're like, we have to do this, and we have to do this, and I want you to clean your room, and I want to go to the closet. And it's too much. You give them one task. Sweetie pie, you just take your teak and put it up and hang it on the door or whatever, on the hook. It's too much for us also. How am I going to get through these next couple of weeks? How am I going to do that? What do I have to do today? What's my checklist for today? What's my checklist for this moment in my Avodat Hashem? Can I just be free with my matzah? And you should just know I love matzah. I really love it. And so I eat the matzah with such joy as I'm eating lechem emunah in its pashutness. It's so expensive, but nowadays. But it's really just flour and water. That's something that people have to l'shem mitzvah, the flour and water that's needed and that was watched, and that Hashem is saying, I just want you. I want you, and I want your emunah. And what's so crazy also is brought down that in all of Sefer Breshis, there were 3 mitzvahs, you guys. Brit Milah, right? We have Pruvu, and we have also about the Giddah. the sciatica nerve, not to eat it. 3 mitzvahs in a whole entire sefer. We still have 610 more to go. Or, yes, right? This week's Parsha, we have 20. That's a lot. That's a lot. And why? I think part of, now that we're in we're going out into our redemption, and Emunah is bringing us into our redemption. And you know what's crazy about all these mitzvot is there are also opportunities to bring us into our connection. We have to understand something. Hashem is giving us all these opportunities in order to connect with Him. That's part of it. When you don't have this knowledge of how to connect, so it's very hard to connect, right? And the first thing that Hashem is telling us as a nation is how is the first way to connect to us, which is the most beautiful mitzvah, is newness, chodesh, hitchadshut. That at any moment, at any time, you're a new person and you can grow and the situation can change. And that's also Emunah. Emunah is looking up into the sky and not seeing anything and saying, I know there's a moon there. Not because I have all the scientific, knowledge to know that the world is turning, the earth is turning, and so right now we can't see the moon because of this and that. It's not that. It's not just that here. I know that there's a moon there. I don't have to even look at to know that there's a moon there, that knowing there's a moon there, right? And that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There are times where he's mamash hester panim. Or just times where I feel so disconnected and dark. Again, how in the world is this going to change the situation? I don't see any solution in sight at all. Emunah is saying, Hashem says, look up into the sky, okay? And I want you to always, when you're feeling a faltering of Emunah, I want you to look up. I want you to get control of yourself again by your breath. Regain your shlita with your breath, which is your neshima, is your neshama. Tap into your neshama, which is chelek melokai. It's part of me that is limitless and beyond any constraints. And look up into the moon and know that wherever it's waxing or waning, I'm there, right? In our lives, waxing and waning. And so many times in our relationships, also our close relationships are the ones where they wax and wane. That could be on a daily, that could be on a monthly, but really it's very rare to have a consistent relationship with anybody, any human being. So all the more so, are we really going to have a consistent relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It's okay. There's always times where we feel a little bit more distant. But then even that moment, please look up into the moon and say, it's chitchadshut, there's a newness. And I think it's like a beginning of a making of a new you is what I'm thinking. So we have also, I just wanted to bring down Rabbi Natan. I was so excited about this. I'm like, oh my goodness, Korban Pesach, and that it had to be so quick, and matzah, and I was getting excited because I'm like, it's Emunah, and the moment that you live with Emunah, what happens? You really have, it's like, things could take so long, they could feel so hard. The moment I'm living with the Kadosh Baruch Hu and Emunah, it falls into place. And I'm not talking about necessarily physically. I'm talking about in your mind, in the true place where you need your Geulah the most, right? Your redemption. And then, here it's brought down by, in Halachot Netilat Yadayim, of Likutei Halachot, Rabbi Natan. And he talks about this concept of actually matzah. And we know that Teva is gematria of Elokim, right? Nature is the gematria of God, of that powerful God, right? And he brings down that matzah is that, which is Emunah, the hashgacha pratis, right? And this concept that they went out by chazon so quickly, they had to make this. They had to hurry to make this matzah. I'm not talking about hurrying that and not thinking, and I'm going to make mistakes. I had a couple people fly out of the house this morning because they were so late, and they left things that I got called about. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not kind of hurrying. I'm talking about the clarity of living with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, that you don't need to be, oh my God, how's it going to come out, the outcome? And what if I choose this? And what if I choose that? And I'm so indecisive that I can't make a decision. And you're just sitting on it. It's becoming chametz and chametz and chametz. And all of a sudden you connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu. And you say, right now in this circumstance, giving all that I can, make an effort to make a responsible decision, this is what we're going to decide. And then what happens? Okay, that's it. Chametz is that dwelling and feeling guilty and the regret that doesn't go anywhere, and it just rises, and it's the anger and it's the thoughts that keep coming back to me, and it's the unfair. How many times has my unfairness made me chametz? Matzah is no, you take your water, you take your flour, you know what you're doing, you have your clarity because it's with Hashem. That's the only clarity there is. Take it, bake it, and go, right? And put that on your shoulders, which I think is also so interesting because sometimes we feel so loaded down by what we're carrying. And when you're saying, I'm just going to carry the matzah on my shoulders, what am I carrying? I'm carrying Emunah. So all we have to do is just carry Emunah. That is the true, that we have to be, running towards, running with, I should say Hashem, taking these deep breaths, tapping into it. It's hard. It's a process, but I really believe in us. I know because Hashem believes in us. So the more so we should believe in ourselves.